Hello, good morning. Good morning, it's Nora McInerny from Terrible Thanks for Asking. We are doing a live stream, our first live stream. I don't know if anyone's there. I don't know if anybody is here, but here is what we are going to do. We've never done this. We've done live stream shows, like actual live stream shows. We actually have another one coming up, by the way, on Valentine's Day. So if you're like, I don't have plans for Valentine's Day, yes, you do. Now you do, and they're with me. Okay, they're with me. Anyways, I'm Nora McInerny. We are here together on this. I know the dogs are going to fight, and they're going to have to hear that. I'm so sorry. But we're doing a little live chat. We've been doing this podcast for coming up on 5 years, and we have never done that. We've never done that. So yesterday we posted on Instagram. By the way, if you are here, if you can just let me know like where you're watching from and who you are, that would be great. I would love that. We're also, by the way, oh my goodness, look at this. This is one dummy. This is Stacy. We love her. Oh, the other one got away. She's the puppy. Sorry, this is what happens when you have dogs. Then we got this puppy, Meredith, and now Stacy, who's 10, is now a puppy again, and they like fist fight constantly. Like it's like WWF wrestling from the 90s, but with these two dogs. This one can she can jump. She's like a mountain goat. She can jump on top of a couch, then leap off to tackle her. And she'll try to scoot around and slither around and sneak up, but she's just not that good of a sneaker. So we will have their altercation going in the background. We've got two kids somewhere else in the house watching an iPad, and that's what we're doing. I'm also trying to figure out where the video is on Instagram. Thank you for being cool, because I have no idea how Facebook works anymore, and I hate it so much. I mean, no offense to if you work at Facebook, but it's literally terrible, and I don't know what's going on. I'm highly annoyed right now. So anyways, I got a bunch of questions from our listeners, from you, that I can go through and talk about. There's also some important information, which is, Ralph, will you grab one of these dogs and put them outside, please? They're doing their wrestling thing. It's very loud. Please, buddy, put down Roblox for 1 minute. I'm begging you. I will pay you $5. I will pay you $10. Ralph, you're working that last nerve. Come on, bud. $10. Sure.
20.
Sure.
30.
No.
90.
No, $10. Also, look, when you're a good helper, what does that do? It just makes it easier for us to have a good day. Well, yeah, her butt's not stuck. It's just touching the computer. But we should grab her. Then, there we go. And then, okay, just because things are fine. Things are fine. This is what you came here for, I'm sure. Oh, geez, Louise. Okay. Okay, now I can see all your comments on Facebook. Goodness gracious. Yeah, you do not want a parenting podcast for me. I'm telling you that much. Hello, Kayla and Lana and Charlotte. Okay, yeah, I know. Trying to bargain with children is it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Later, though, he's going to ask me for something. And I'm going to need to say, well, you know what happened? You wouldn't let the dog out so that this other dog wouldn't fight them. Anyways, good morning. Let's focus. Today is also the last day of January, which also means that it's the very last day to order any of our, good morning, Lloyd is here, order any of our TTFA pre-orders right now. Oh yeah, hi Bianca. I'm the if you don't know who I am, I'm Nora McInerny. We are off to a rocky start. Okay, we're off to a real 2020 start, even though it's 2021. Is it really? I won't recognize 2021 as a year. I just feel like this is the 13th month of 2020, and then I don't know. I might recognize the Gregorian calendar sometime around 2022. I'm Nora McInerny. I'm the host of Terrible Thanks for Asking. I started this podcast, coming up on 5 years ago, with a producer named Hans Butow, and we've been doing this podcast ever since. Hans has since moved on. No hard feelings. He works at the Daily. And now the team is me, Marcel Malakibu, Jacob Maldonado Medina, Hannah Meacock-Ross, Jordan Turgeon, and Phyllis Fletcher. So we've been making hundreds and hundreds of episodes. I asked for questions for this first live chat just because I was like, I don't know, what do people want to talk about? am checking the comments on Facebook. So if there is something specific where you're like, look, I want you to talk about this, I am here for that. I would love to talk about the things that you want to talk about. But I do also look at this cool little app. If you want like these are up forever. These are pre-orders. We have a gray one that says terrible, and some crops. And the last day to order those is today. It's today. And then they're gone. We already sold out of all of our pins yesterday, which was wild. So yeah, that's what we are up to. So we've been making this podcast for 5 years. So if you are new to it, welcome. And if you are a person who has been listening since the very first episode or the very first season, please let me know. That's a good question, Bobby Joe. I will tell you what size this is. This is this one's an extra large. Usually I like stuff like a little tight. Like, I don't know, I just like things small. So usually I get a small. And I'm 6 feet tall. This is Stacy, by the way, for everybody who's wondering. Do you hear that? Yeah, she's fine. She's like 100 years old. Okay, she's like 100 years old. This one is still up at ttfamerch.com. These ones, they closed today. These ones, still at TTFA merch. These ones will be gone today. But anyways, if you have been listening since the first season, oh my God, Jeremy. Yeah, Jeremy, first episode. I think that's actually how I met Jeremy through Still Kicking. But yeah, Jeremy's been here since episode 1. Oh my gosh, Tanya, thank you. God, so many. Gina, thank you. I also, like, some of these names I actually recognize from when we first started this podcast, which is so amazing. It's actually very kind of unusual, a little bit rare for a podcast to last 5 years. I have to say, I don't know. It's like either podcasts last forever or they burn out really quickly. I'm not saying that it has been easy. And I know, one of the questions I got is like, what's the best part of making a podcast? And the best part of making this podcast specifically is how I can just and by that, it's we can help people empathize with situations that they may never experience. And we can also make very, very personal, very, very unique stories feel as universal as they are, because they are. Like, the world feels so, so lonely when you are in the crap. And the fact is, like, we all go through it. All of us. Like, Stacy, before we got her, was in a puppy mill having 30 or 40 babies. Like, she's, even Stacy's been through it. Okay. So that is my favorite part. That is just hugely rewarding. And to be able to do that for 5 years is huge. And I'd say that the hardest part is knowing that when you make something, you can't make something for everyone, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously, right? Like, and that is a learning that I'm obviously working on with the therapist, right? Like, I don't like everything. Why would everybody like the things that I make? But, in 5 years, like, we've done like a huge range of kinds of episodes, and especially like this past year, when things were just like so chaotic and so heavy, we zoomed out and we talked about like bigger picture. We talked about bigger picture things. We did some like lighter episodes that like weren't terrible, and some people loved that, and some people did not love it at all. And it's sometimes you have to take a minute to realize, like, which voice are you listening to? Like, are you listening? Because I do, by the way, I think it is so important to listen to your audience, especially, I mean, your audience wants you to succeed. Like, obviously, like, if you like a podcast, you want them to do well at it. You are also invested in it. And especially like giving your time to something is extremely sacred. The fact that you all spend time with this work is what makes it possible for us to do this work. And then sometimes the criticism is just bananas, and I'm like, glitch, like, and also, like, when you make mistakes, you make them like on a pretty big scale. Like, you make them on a pretty big scale. So I will give you 2 examples. And even if they're okay, I'll just give you an example that's like deeply embarrassing, which is that, like, I just recorded like an update for a podcast that was like from 2 years ago, where I just like I just said something that was like absolutely not true, but I was making the podcast with a man who has never had a baby or been pregnant. And like, I just believed in my heart it was true. And I described amniocentesis as like drawing blood from the baby in your stomach. That is not a fact. That is not what an amniocentesis is. They take out the amniotic fluid. I know that in my head, but when I was like describing it, I said drawing blood from the baby, which is wrong. And I like, somebody emailed me and was like, that's like extremely wrong. And I was like, oh my gosh, you are right. So I just recorded something so that we can pop it in the episode and fix it. And I was like, holy jeez, oh my God. And that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. I don't know why I'm telling you that other than just so you know, like, I don't know. That we are all like, that we're all just like people, and people are sometimes like just doofuses. And isn't that so humbling to know? Oh my gosh. Okay. I got a question, about blending a family. A lot of people have this question, and I truly think like step family, like what we think of as an unusual family. By the way, if you are new to this podcast, if you are new to this life, you just stumbled upon it. Can you guys hear these dogs wrestling? Is that just me? It's so loud to me. I'm wondering if you can hear it. Like, it sounds. Can you guys hear that? Okay. Just wondering, because it's extremely like, it's so athletic. I'm actually kind of impressed because Stacy's like 100 years old. Okay. So if you're new to this podcast, it started after my husband Aaron died of brain cancer. And in a year after that, I met this man named Matthew. And oh, thank you, Lloyd. Thank you, Deborah. They got their sweatshirts. We are closing these down today. And then they will be printed. And I am really proud of the way that we do merch, by the way. Like, it would be so easy, and we do some things that are print on demand all the time, but we mostly I feel like we do it right, and we do it ethically, and there is a cost to that, and I'm proud to bear that cost. And Gigi from the episode called The Beautiful Ones is the person who designs our merchandise. Then when you order it, it goes to our warehouse in Minneapolis, where Chris receives it. She brings it over to Jillian, who hand prints everything, and then Chris mails them out to you, and you keep people employed. So thank you. And it's not just like, a robot AI, like, making things and in some like, I don't know how things get made when you drop ship, but it doesn't seem super ethical. So I don't know. We're trying to like work within capitalism without being the absolute worst. What were we talking about? I have ADHD. I'm a 38-year-old woman. My husband died when I was 31. I remarried a couple of years ago. My current husband is named Matthew. He came with 2 kids who were 9 and 14 when we met, and now are 14 and 19. And we also have like another baby, a little whoopsie baby, who's 4 years old right now and is over there playing God knows what on an iPad. Honestly, I'm always like, hope it's not too violent. I have no way of knowing because I don't understand Roblox. So our family is a blended one. And I get a lot of messages about this, which is like, how are we supposed to do this? Our family does not look like I imagined it to look. And what I have to say over and over is that Pew Research, you can Google this, Pew Research found that there is no dominant family structure anymore. So for a long time, and what we have all drilled in our brains is that it's a mom and a dad and 2 kids and a dog and a half. And really, it's all kinds of things. Kids, families are made of all kinds of ways, and made and remade in all kinds of ways. And to blend a family is a verb, and it is a constant verb, just like love, right? Like, you are always blending, you are always loving, you are always working on it. And our kids, all of them, come with their own story. The big kids had a family before. Ralph was 2 when his dad died. He had a family before, a different family. And our family can exist without, like invalidating what came before it. And we can exist without being threatened by what existed before. And I think really that just comes down to, like, I don't know. I mean, it's not always perfect, and it's not always easy. And I think our family motto is like, we're just doing our best here. Actually, it's at least we tried. we tried. And it is like, it's not always easy. It's not easy to have teenagers. And I think what you have to remember, no matter where you are in the process, is no one has done this before. No one in your family has been here before. So it is new to all of you. And as grown-ups, you're like, oh, but like, I know how to do this. And I will, trust me, I approached it with like so much ego. It's like shameful. Like I was like, okay, well, my husband died, so how hard can anything else be? Like, everybody's alive, like, get over it. Oh my God, like, how invalidating. Like, truly, like, it's very difficult. It's very difficult, and it takes a lot of empathy and a lot of humility and a lot of patience, and I am not perfect at it, and we are all still figuring it out, and we will be for the rest of our lives. For the rest of our lives, our family will be evolving. So that's what that's where we are with that. And it is not easy. I never want to pretend as if things were just easy. What was easy was that I loved Matthew and I loved these kids, and I was like, yeah, well, I just love them. That's all. It's as easy as that for me. I'm not like, well, these are like sort of my kids, and this kid I love more, and this kid, because he's with Matthew, I love the most. It's not like that. And in fact, sometimes Matthew's like, what? You like really favor Ian. And I'm like, well, he has, we share no DNA, and yet we share all the same insecurities. And he just like is such a mirror back to me. Yeah, I cut him a lot of slack. Okay. Yes, I will buy him a pair of AirPods after being asked, around the way, like teenagers would be like, yeah, man, it's just like, what if I had a pair of AirPods? I don't know. It's just like, I would never like buy them. It's just like so much money, but like, I don't know. I feel like it might help me with school. I was like, you got it, babe. In that way, yes, I am an absolute sucker, totally. But I kind of love it. And so if your family looks different, guess what? Yeah, you have something in common with most people. Most people's family do not look like, like the 1950s. And thank God for that, because that actually was not a golden time for America. It was not. And I think that if we have any baby boomers in the chat right now, they would agree with you. They were not like raised in an idyllic situation. It just looked really good on the surface. Any boomers out here wanna chime in with that? I don't know if my mom's here. Probably not. Okay. I had two other questions. I'm just gonna check the chat on Facebook quick. There, it is very hard to read them. That is okay. Nikita, also her son doesn't have his dad, so I try to go above and beyond, but it is very exhausting. Fully get it. Very, 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 very hard. Also, parenting is just such an exercise in, truly error. Not even like trial and error, just like you mess up and you mess up and you mess up and you mess up, and then once they hit their 30s, like and then they'll come back to you and recap all the ways that you fell short. And for that I say I'm sorry, Mom, because like you really did do your best. You did your best. And I do think it's important for our kids to see us struggling, for our kids to realize like, we don't actually know everything. We're just sort of like trying things. We do have a boomer here, Chris. Were the 50s that great? Was being a boomer that great? Well, like, was being raised as a boomer that great? Or, oh, Dana's here. Drayden's mom is here. Yay! We love that. Okay. I also love when people who've been on our podcast become like a part of our podcast family, and it happens, and I love it. And Dana is one of those people for sure. Okay, so I've gotten a lot of grief questions. I don't know what I thought. I was like, wow, well, like, what will people want to know about the podcast? I did get a couple questions that are like, what advice do you have for starting a podcast? Honestly, if I knew what made a successful podcast, I would have a million of them. I can't tell. What's going on, dudes? Babe, what's up? Ralphie, pause your game and help him. He's still learning. Anyone else struggling with Roblox? Can you hear this? This brotherly love. We love it. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're fine. Roblox is tearing our family apart, and yet it is the glue that keeps us all together, along with the iPad. God bless you, iPad. You are the mother that my children never had. Thank you. Okay. So, advice for starting a podcast. One, you don't need a ton of equipment. Here's also what I will say about my podcast, in case you haven't been to our live show, where I usually give this whole rundown. In case you did not listen to, I think, our FAQ&A episode, where I tell you like truly like the way the podcast came together is, I mean, it was, oh honey, what's up? One moment. I know. Come here. He's gonna help you. I just heard him say he's gonna help you. Come here. It's okay.
But it's not helping me now.
I know. Yeah, can I just keep your face out of the camera? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, you want fruit snacks? That's all I'll help? Okay. I'll give you fruit snacks. Come here. You can have fruit snacks, but also, babe, it's just a game, okay? It's okay that you're ticked at Ralph. I don't like when you won't help you either. Okay? He should give you a turn on that iPad. He always does pick the good iPad. Yeah? Yeah? Yes, I will. You guys will swap in 1 second. Ooh, okay, go grab fruit snacks and bring them back over to me, and I'll open them for you. Fruit snacks can help. Okay, yeah, you can do that.
So, like, Mama?
Yeah.
Can you, like, open it?
I will. Yes, I will open them for you.
In your room?
No, I'll open it for you right here, and you can carry them into your room.
You mean Mom's room?
Yeah. You can open them.
Mama?
Yeah.
You know that your name is Mom and Dad's name is Dad?
My name's not Mom.
Yes,
No, it's not.
Yes,
No, it's not. No, it's not. I have a real name. What's my real name?
Mama, can I not tell it?
Sure. My name is okay, so I think I was asking, oh my god, what were we talking about? I'm so sorry. Oh my god, this is also the first time we've ever done anything on YouTube, so God, I hope no young people find this and are like, what the heck? Get this middle-aged lady off YouTube. I don't know why. I love YouTube, so I don't know why I'm like afraid of it. Maybe because I've read the comment section, okay? I'm too fragile. Yeah, I mean, we buy the Welch's fruit snacks at Claire, we buy the Welch's ones at Costco, so it makes me feel like the children are eating fruit shaped snacks, or fruit flavored snacks. That's what it is. So yeah, we've got the kids fighting over Roblox. We've got these dogs fighting over like a toy that I thought was already gone, but apparently not. They've resurrected it, and now they're gonna have like a full-on wrestling match. I did tell my husband, like, go for a bike ride. Like, I got it under control. And he will arrive at some point in time, and just, I was talking about how to make a podcast in the process of it all. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I had an idea. I had the name and the format in my head. That is all. It was also 2015. I cannot stress that enough. 2015 was just different. It was a different time. There were maybe 1 million podcasts, not 1 billion podcasts. And so I truly went on Twitter and was like, who in Minnesota, where I lived at the time, makes podcasts? And someone was like, Hans Buto, and he works at APM. Went in for a meeting. I did not shop it around. I did not luckily, Hans was the person to do this with. 100%, this show would not be what it was without Hans. It would not be. And so I think like a part of it, like just the ability to make it, was luck, because I did not have a following. I did not have, I was a widowed mom, who did like marketing communications on the side, like freelance, because I had stopped going to my job and therefore was like not employed anymore, which like literally no hard feelings. I was like, but I just don't want to come in and do the work. Like, I just want you to keep paying me for like 5 to 10 years and I'll pop in when I can. But like, I just don't see myself like showing up for meetings or being anywhere at any specific time. And why is that a problem? My husband just died and they were like, we definitely need somebody who can do the work. And I was like, well, I guess it's not me. What a bummer. Oh, thanks for throwing that away, bud. Good job.
It didn't fit in because there was so much trash.
There's so much trash in there. You got to take the trash out.
No.
Love that. Also, he doesn't take the trash out. That's his other brother's job. So a lot of it, I think, was like, was I the right person? Was it the right time? I do think it was the right time. And now I don't know, it's just, oh yeah, Cuteness is not with me, by the way, sorry. Cuteness is in his room, with his brothers from our neighbors. Our neighbors are traveling, so we have, 3 tortoises right now, and they are asleep. They were up earlier and they had their breakfast, and now they're snoozing. Okay. So, starting a podcast now is different. It is harder. It is harder to like find an audience. We started one with Still Kickin' called Help a Human Out that is growing a lot slower than Terrible Thanks for Asking did. And part of it, I think, is, I don't know, there's just so many podcasts now. So I really don't have a secret to it. I just made something, and I made something without being married to the outcome of it. I was not surprised that it worked. And also, like, I didn't have like a plan B. Like, this was it for me. I was like, well, if this doesn't work, I guess I'll like go back and get another job. So, yeah. So so that is it. I do not have like advice on how to like make your podcast like a big hit. Cause like, who knows? A bunch of terrible podcasts are in the top 10 on iTunes. Terrible podcasts. And a bunch of really great podcasts never get any listens, and it sucks. It sucks. And it's very, very difficult. And yeah, it's just hard. Nobody knows. Like, by the way, even like people who are like wildly successful, like have no idea. There is not a formula to it. Just like, you know, going viral on the internet, like there's no formula to it. Like, some things work. And also it is almost always a very, very, very slow burn, a long burn. I had a book come out in 2019 called The High Young Widows Club that just this year started selling like crazy. I was like, well, you know, I've never hit like a bestseller list in the first 2 weeks. Like, everything has always been like a much longer burn than you want it to. And the world is filled with people who are going to tell you like they have the secret. I did not know girl dogs humped each other, but I would, if I turned this camera, you would see another story. They are really, that is extremely physical. Okay. I'm not trying to sex shame my puppy, but really aggressive. Really aggressive. Okay. But the world is full of people who will tell you like, oh, like I have the secret to success, and like all you have to do is hustle. You have to want it. Like, no. Plenty of people want things that they never get. Plenty of people. And hustle is overrated, and just working diligently at something and being okay with it being okay is truly like what most people end up going through. Last night I watched Julie and Julia again, from 2009. Dude, no, that movie did not come out in 2009. That movie came out like 2003, 5. I don't know. It came out a long time ago, and it's about Julia Child and this blogger at the time when that blog to book happened and the book to movie happened. It was like, oh my god, like this was an era for our younger readers where like blogging could get you fired, where you were like expected not to have a personality outside of work, and the risk of it. Okay, but that also feels rough. Like when you pick that up. Like what was happening in there with the iPad? Like you wouldn't stop and help your brother. It makes me sad.
Stuck.
I know.
He broke the game. He had to leave. He had to reset the iPad.
I know.
Go back in and then.
Yeah, but can you when you're in your game, it's very, very important to you. And also, I think it's very important if you can pause your game and help your brother because he's only 4.
I did it.
Okay, well, I heard you yelling, "I'm not gonna do it. I don't have the time." And like we do have the time. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I'd love to collaborate with Brittney Brown. Are you okay? So okay, Julia Child. Oh yeah, I mean Brittney Brown is a great example. She was writing books that were not bestsellers forever, just diligently doing her work, and then poof, like right to the top. Who knows? Who knows? And right now I'm like lower middle. I'm not like being humble, by the way. Like when you look at the full spectrum of success, trust me, I am. My child, oh, it's like also like my child started his own podcast. Okay, it's called Ralph's Podcast. He records it into an iPod Touch. I can't tell him how to like have a successful podcast. Like he's just making whatever he makes. If Chris, I know, squirrel. He's making what he makes, and like if people listen to it, great, and if they don't, like he literally could care less. Like he's just having fun making it, and I love seeing that. And I think there is, if you are trying to make money on your dreams, I want you to have another plan. I do. I want you to have another plan, because trying to monetize your dreams is a good way to hate your dreams, a good way to absolutely collapse who you are and what you do into, a, a, a very messy lasagna, and you can't untangle like your professional successes from your personal value, or your professional shortcomings from your personal value. And it can be extremely difficult and extremely depleting. And I do not think that there is anything wrong with like having a life where you do a job that's like, doesn't mean much to you. And then you find meaning in your life, not your work. That is actually the way that we did it for bajillions of years. I have no sense of time. I don't even know how old the earth is. Like my kid asked me that the other day, and I was like, at least 100 years. I have no idea, dude. I don't know. It's like, when were dinosaurs? I was like, Cretaceous. God, oh my God, I don't know. Before Jesus, unless you visit that museum in Ohio, which shows like Jesus like riding a dinosaur, the non-evolution museum. I can't remember what it's called. The Creationist Museum. No offense if you believe that, but what? Oh my God. Oh my God. What was I talking? There's no reason why your work should be the basis of meaning in your life. There's no reason for that. And I remember having this conversation with my dad. I was a college sophomore, extremely, like all college students, extremely disillusioned, knee deep in a hardcore eating disorder, crying in my bed. I was ready to drop this horrible PR class where like all the assignments were to like write they were based on our professor. She was like just like a PR person. Our professors, I gotta show you this dog just humping the other dog. I mean, like what is that like a thing they do? I don't know. Like, good for her, way to get it. But also it like upsets me how Stacy just sits there and is like, oh, guess this is happening. Anyways, I had this conversation with my dad that the class was basically us just like rewriting press materials that like our professor had written for her clients. And I like called my dad. I was like, it's just so meaningless. Like I cannot do like things that are so meaningless. And he was like, I don't think it's so meaningless. My dad worked in advertising. He wrote infomercials. And he was like, I don't think it's meaningless to be able to send you to college. I don't think it's meaningless to, pay for dinner for our family and pay for our home. And I was like, oh. What my dad was trying to say is that like, meaning comes from life, not from work. Like it comes from the life you build, and work is a part of that. And in America, we've given it too much of a part of our stuff. It is wonderful if your work can be meaningful, but it is not a requirement for a meaningful life. It is not in any way. Aaron, my dead husband, he really liked what he did. Like he was just so humble. Like he was a designer. He was really good. He made a lot of cool stuff. Hold on, show you some of his work up there. Nope, it's too high. There, that thing up there, the very top. One of my favorite things. He made a lot of cool stuff. But also like he made like websites for, horse feed companies. Like that did not give him like deep meaning in his life. Like he just had a meaningful life. So, yeah, so it's like, it is a lesson. I am very, very lucky. I feel fortunate to have work that means something. Good God, Meredith. Okay, we get it. You're in charge. Oh, Meredith. Stacy's already given up. Also, Meredith is sometimes the alpha because she's faster, so she can pull toys away from Stacy. But also, Stacy got a haircut the other day, and these we're talking about dogs, by the way. Stacy got a haircut the other day, and when she walked in, Meredith like didn't recognize her. She looks like the same, pretty much. Like she looks slightly better, and she smells different. But I'm also like, I thought you had like a good sense of smell. You're telling me you can't smell this dog's butt just because she got like a bath? Are you kidding me? And she kept growling at her and like coming around the corner and being like, oh, like her little hackles were going up. It was very funny and cute. And we were like, is our dog dumb? Or like, what if we got the wrong dog? What if we brought the wrong dog home? Who knows? PetSmart would never do you like that. Okay. And so that's how that was an unasked for rant about work and about making a podcast and all of that stuff. But like, sorry, I hydrate. Coffee, water. Which is also, this is Ralph's water bottle. I let him buy, whatever. We went on like a little road trip this summer up to like a abandoned mining town. Well, abandoned. Now it's like a tourist trap. and I bought, oh my God, I was like, buy whatever you want. Like this store, this whole town has been closed for like 6 months. Like we're going to pump whatever money into this economy and we're going to gift shop. And he buys this hat. It's just like a dopey hat, just like dumbest hat, like just a hat that says like the name of the town. I'm like, okay, $26 hat, a $26 hat. I was like, okay, Nikita, I'm actually an INFJ. Okay. Oh, and thank you, Chris. And then I do have all my books are on Audible or on whatever like ear listening, audiobook, ear list, whatever ear reading app you like to use. And if you are like struggling with like grief or supporting someone with grief, I would get Hot Young Widows Club. It's very short though. It's like just it's a book that you can breeze through and revisit, and it's very practical. It's Okay to Laugh, Crying is Cool Too is my first book. And that is like, it was written in the 6 months after Aaron died. I read part of it at an event on Thursday, a Zoom event, and I cried. I was like, whoa, forgot about this feeling. And then the second book is No Happy Endings, which is about like falling in love again and trying to like square like your grief with your happiness and learning those are not two opposing forces. And then I wrote the novelization of Bad Moms, the movie, into a novel, and it came out like May, and the pandemic, it just like, you know, obviously like fizzled because of like the world around us. And I'm so bummed because it really is such a good book. And I got to take the characters that those guys made and give them like, you know, just like a little more depth and backstory. And it was so fun. It was such a fun project. And that is pure comedy, pure humor. But the memoirs are different. Okay. So I let Ralph buy whatever he wanted in that gift store. He bought a $26 hat, and then he bought this sticker. And he's been carrying this to school. They don't go to school anymore, but like when they did, he would like walk into school and be like, take hikes on drugs. Really, kid, like you can take a hike on drugs at the same time. And that this is his merch that he designed for his podcast. It says emotional supporters, because that's what the term he coined, which I think is genius. He's 8 years old. He came up with emotional supportist to describe his tortoise. And we sat down and we used Canva, and he was like, no, this font. And then I want it going over. Okay. And then I want to say Ralph's podcast so people know where it came from. Like, good. You're a great client. So, the first book, Nikita, is It's Okay to Laugh, Crying is Cool Too. The shortest one, which is like a grief thing, is Hot Young Widows Club, Not Just for Widows. And then, thank you. Michelle said that one was really, really helpful. Okay, so should I go back to the list of questions people sent me? By the way, the reason this is up here, I'm doing the worst job today, guys. I really should have taken like some. I don't even have ADHD medication, so I don't know why. Because I was like, you know what? I will handle this. I'll handle this like an adult. I will. It's a part of my sparkle. And then part of my sparkle is like my husband being like, where are your keys? And I'm like, in the bottom of a garbage can somewhere, Matthew. I don't know. He's like, why did I find your phone in the fridge? I'm like, object permanence. I don't have it. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry, dude. And he's like, oh, you started cleaning out all the cupboards. I'm like, He's like, then what happened? I'm like, I left everything on the floor. Is that a problem? Because now I'm doing something else. So it's fun. It's fun. And then sometimes I'm like, I just can't do anything. Like it'll take like, you know, it'll take 100 years for me to start certain episodes. Like some episodes I can write in like 10. Honestly, I will just like, it'll just come to me after the interview. And I'm like, I know exactly what tape I want in it. I know exactly what the arc is. I know exactly how this is going. I can hear the narration. Some of them I can't. And it will take me 100 years. Marcel knows this. Jacob knows this. And they'll be like, have you started it? And I'm like, no. However, and this is an example, on Friday I went through all of this stuff that's on sale at Still Kickin', and because we can't afford the plugin on our website that would allow you to search by size, you can't search by size, you just have to like click through stuff and see if it's in your size. I went through the inventory, listed all the sale items and what sizes still remained for an hour instead of writing. So that's kind of how my brain works. And Lindsay, who works at Still Kickin', was like, I don't think you have to do that. And I was like, well, I did. So I did. So back off. I did it. Okay. So what were you talking about? We were talking about, oh, the reason this is up is because this is a pre-order. We've got a bunch of stuff, ttfamerch.com, and the pre-order ends today so that we can print them and ship them out to you. We already sold out of like our Bad Vibes Only pin. Gigi's working on some like really funny stuff. Like she was like, I want to share this as Have a Terrible Day. And I was like, yes, do that. So we'll be looking at those designs on Monday. I don't know if Gigi's here. Usually she likes to sleep in a little bit, and we love that about her. We really do. So I did get some questions from, and if you're just joining us and you're like, what is happening? At least one person was like, I have no idea who this woman is. I started the podcast Terrible Thanks for Asking, and I am the voice that you hear if you listen to the podcast. If you don't listen to the podcast, this is so confusing for you. And I apologize that the algorithm was like, you know what you need? Some chaos in your life. You don't. You probably don't. Okay. Okay. So I got a couple other grief questions, which I fully understand. And oh, Delilah, you can get this one at ttfamerch.com. It is available right now. This one is an extra large because I wanted a really big one, but I usually buy like a smaller medium because they're unisex and I'm 6 feet tall, and I usually just like small sweatshirts on myself, and I don't know why. And I also like other people's work. Like Lindsay knows this. Lindsay's been working at Still Kickin' forever, and she'd buy like a large sweatshirt, and I was like, no, I want you in an extra small. I want your sweatshirt tight because we are real millennials. Like we grew up like we grew up in the era of Brittney, of Paris. Like we grew up in the era of like, you know, your body is a wonderland and you better show it off. That's it's a sickness that we are still dealing with, but I'm like, yeah, everything should be short and tight. And now I see these girls who are like, you know, Gen Z, they're wearing like huge sweatsuits, and I'm like, what? That was an option? You didn't have to objectify yourself? What? And then I'm also like, but I mean, you know, anyways, terrible rant. I will stop. Lindsay Wenner's in the Facebook chat right now. If you're watching this on Facebook, giving you all the links. Okay. 2 questions about grief that I thought were very interesting and that I can speak to. One is from, and I'm keeping these anonymous, but if you are in the chat and you want to be like, that was me, I will shout you out. That is totally fine. I really love that. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm like still obviously like new to live, so I'm like, should I be talking to commenter? Should we be doing that? What should I be doing? I don't know. Okay. Okay. So two questions that I was like, these are like very, very, very highly relevant. So one is a person who was like, how do I grieve with no memories? My mom died. I don't remember her. I've made up all of this mythology around her. How do I grieve? Like, you grieve the way that you grieve, which is grief is not just about the death of a person that you knew. You are grieving. You are experiencing the loss of potential, of the relationships that you are seeing your peers have with their parent. Even like, I mean, even not getting to like have those knockdown, drag out fights with your mother as an adolescent, like that is a loss. That is a true and serious loss. And if you feel like your grief does not count, You are absolutely wrong. We are actually launching this, a cohort of our grief guide group at Still Kickin', pretty soon for anyone who thinks their grief doesn't count, for anybody who thinks it's like kind of ambiguous like this, like, well, I didn't even know that, well, but it was all of those things. Like we are launching a cohort specifically for people like that. But Aaron died. He was 35 years old. Our son Ralph was almost 2. Does Ralph have any true memories of his own? I don't know. I've been talking about Aaron to him every single day for his entire life. And I know that some of the things that he remembers are just things that I told him. And then also some things I do think he knows because, or does have like this sort of sense memory of, and I'm sure you have sense memories. You met your mother. You just don't remember your mother. Your body knows your mother. You know your mother. Ralph knows his father, and he was only 2. Every once in a while he'll be like, remember when the doctors came but they couldn't fix him? And I'm like, oh yeah, it wasn't a doctor, that was like whoever takes the dead body away, which I think he was asleep for, but also I don't know because I was so in shock, even though I knew Aaron was dying because he had cancer. Oh my God. But all of that is still inside you. You don't have to know somebody to grieve them. I actually think it's so fascinating. I think I wrote about this in the Hot Young Widows Club. Like if you watch the Gaga documentary, Joanne, and you listen to that album is a grief album for an aunt she never met, an aunt who died before she was even born. And I grew up with like present grief around me for people I had never met. My cousin died in Vietnam. He was my dad's age. My dad was the youngest of 9. That's how that works. And I grew up like grieving for Roger, even though I did not know Roger, but I knew that he was a part of our family. I knew that it was a huge loss. I knew that it had reverberated through our family in so many ways. And the same for my cousin Matt, who had a terrible accident and fell and died on New Year's Eve, on the bluffs of Wisconsin. Like I grew up with that grief too. Ralph is 8 years old now. The loss of his dad, like the loss of your mother, is going to mean something different to him in 10 years or in 20 years. It'll be different when he reaches the age he was when his dad got sick, when his dad died. And it is still real grief. And he still cries about it. He still has so many questions. Like he knows that loss, and so do you. And it is real, and it does count. And the way that you are grieving is a valid way of grieving, even if you've never seen it happen around you before. You get to feel all of the things that other people feel. And guess what? You might feel them even differently. That is the thing. Like grief, a many-splendored thing. A multifaceted emotion, a multitasking emotion. It will bring you so absolutely, can you hear these dogs it's truly like a WWE match. Look at this. Oh, Stacy's got her. You got her pinned. Good girl. Good girl. Get her. Get her. Get her. Stacy's 10 years old. Look at her go. Look at her go. Yes. Yes. I'm always like proud of Stacy when she like dominates. I'm like, yes. Yes. Yes, you got it. Lindsay, by the way, is in the Facebook chat, like throwing out links to like the relevant stuff that I'm talking about. Thank you. So yeah, oh, my niece, this message from Michelle, if you're on Facebook, my niece lost her mom, my sister-in-law, when she was 3. She's 4 now. She was sobbing the other day saying she wants to stay a kid forever. I absolutely understand that. When Ralph turned 8, he sobbed and said, I didn't have enough time to be 7 and my life is going too fast. And when I turn 8, that means you're 38, which means your life is, I was like, oh, okay. okay, buddy. But I fully get it. I fully get it. And I also had that same awareness of like the passage of time, and it was very frightening to me as a kid. Little time out for a dog chat. Meredith, who is, look at this little dominator. She gets up there, right? And then she will leap down at some point. Get furniture all over the place, by the way, because the other room where the home hole was developed, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you might not know what that is, but there's a hole in our home. We had to move all of our furniture in here because no furniture can be in there while the floor is being ripped off. And by the floor, I mean the slab our house is built on. So things are good. So your grief counts, and your grief will change. And when Ralph reaches the age that Aaron was when he got sick, when he reaches the age that, we were talking about the dog. Meredith was born, I think, in April. So she's about to be a year old, pretty soon. But she's part Chihuahua, wiener dog, Pomeranian and Min Pin. Like, and all she looks like is a Chiweenie. She looks 100% Chiweenie like her mom. She's not. Her dad was the Pomeranian Min Pin. Looked like the rat from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What was that rat's name? Slayer? No. Slayer. Now they find the squeak toy. They only find the squeak toy if I am doing something like this, or if I am on a conference call. That's the only time they find the squeak toy. Hey, Ralph, will you come take the squeak toy from the dogs, please? Will you please come take the squeak toy from the dogs? Thank you, babe. Shredder, not Slayer, Shredder. Oh my God. Oh my God. Will you please take the squeaky toy away from the dogs?
Where is it?
Right there.
How about I just take the dog?
Sure. Take the dog too. I bet if you take the squeak toy, she'll follow it. Yes, she will. Good job. Yep. Oh, you got her. Good job. I love this age. I love 8. It's so fun. So helpful. Like now he's like, can I make toast? I'm like, I don't know. Can you? Don't squeak the toy. That's the point. Don't squeak it. Can you take the squeak toy and then Splinter? Oh my God, it's Splinter. Shredder is the bad guy. Splinter is the leader. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Oh, by the way. Oh, what was that? What were we talking about? Oh my God. Oh, which ties into the other question, which somebody reached out and they're like, I'm about to be the age my brother was when he died. And that was my absolute, just absolute, it still gets me. I am an age that Aaron never got to be. I'm an age that Aaron never got to be. When I turned 35, I bawled, and I am married to somebody who also fully understands it. I'm married to somebody who is a year older than Aaron, and so watching Matthew get older too makes me really emotional. And I don't know, like my love for them is so tangled up, but I do understand that sort of existential crisis that happens when you're older than a person you love, and they just sort of stay frozen in the amber of time. And I do think that will always be sad. I think that will always be sad. And to have that be a thing for your brother, like, I just really, really feel for you. Our siblings can be. I know also not everybody has this, but for me, my siblings are, besides myself, like my longest, they have the potential to be my longest relationship if they outlive my mom, and her mom held on for a long time. Okay, Grandma Mary was like 92, and then she just turned off. She was like, F it, I'm done. Maybe she was only 90. Hard to say. It's like she just looked like she was 90 my whole life. I was like, she's old. Now I look back and I'm like, she was like 60, Nora, relax. But I think that will always be sad. That will always be sad. That will always be wrenching. And I have said this quote many, many times. It has been misattributed to me. It is not my quote. I'm quoting a person who I'm friends with, Mary Balcom, who's my mother's friend from grade school, then became my friend because she lost her husband, then I lost my husband, then she lost her son. And she said to me, we have a sacred responsibility to live fully in the face of our losses. It's a bitch, though. I think that second line is so important. It's a bitch. We have this sacred responsibility. And by the way, do not think that sacred responsibility means that you have to go like jump out of airplanes. You have to like start a business. You have to like hustle. No. To like live is to fully embrace the fact that we will experience more suffering, and we'll experience more happiness, and it is all out of our control. What door are you knocking on? Ralph. She's not here.
What?
She's at a sleepover. Remember?
Why didn't she even sleep over?
Because she's 14.
And I can't sleep over anymore. Dad says I can't sleep over anymore for the rest of my life.
He did not say that, and we don't have to talk about that right now. He did not say that. He did not say
Can I
that.
go over to Gabe's today?
We are going to go play cards at May's house. The grown-ups are going to play cards, and you will see Gabe at that time.
No, but if I can.
No. You're going to see Gabe at Maymay's house.
But can I go over there?
No, because there will not be time. That's what I'm telling you. It's still pretty fun to get to see your cousin.
No, it's not gonna be fun. I don't wanna go see Gabe.
I know you will see Gabe today, just not at his house. Is the dog locked in a room? Sorry, I'll be right back.
He's left out.
Okay. Anyways, what was I crying about? I think that's what I was crying about. Yeah, and it doesn't mean, by the way, like to live fully in the face of your losses, again, does not mean like that you have to like do something big and huge. It means like you show up and you show up and you do like the work of life, which is just truly existing. Like there's nothing else that is required of you other than to like live fully. That is not, do not conflate that with hustle culture. Do not conflate that with like meaning is accomplishment. It is like the relationships that you have and like the emotional experiences that you let yourself have. And I think the past 2 episodes that we did are a perfect example of that. What does it mean to live fully in the face of your loss? I don't think that there is a better example than Mark and Melissa. I think that they are the absolute illustration of that, which is to show up knowing that you will absolutely get your heart broken again and again and again. And then sometimes you will also be handed some joy. And Mark is in the Facebook chat. Mark, I saw you. I adore you. I don't know if you could hear in the narration for the second episode. That was one of those episodes. Both of those episodes were one where I knew how I always know how the episode ends. I always know how the story ends. I wrote both of them. We do this thing when we're prepping an episode where I write, I pick tape, Marcel slots it in, that we all sit around a table, now a Zoom call, and I read the narration. Marcel fires the clips, we all listen to it, and then we make edits. I could not finish the narration for the first episode because I was crying, I was sobbing. Second episode, same thing. And even recording it alone in my closet, I did the same thing. And yeah, and Mark had asked a question, which is like, did it bother you when people said, I get it about your grief? Yes, dude. Yes. Like you do not need to tell somebody like, like I get it. Like it is not about you, like the grief adjacent person, or you, a person who's experiencing a different grief. Like you got to take the I out of it. You got to take the I out of it. And people, I mean, they're saying it. And by the way, I'm sure I've said that too. Like they are saying that not to insert themselves, but to let you know that you are not the only person that is feeling that. And yet it has the opposite effect. It really does. I wrote an email today that was about, the sort of like people are so worried about what to say that either they don't say anything, which is not good, or they say stuff like that. Like you don't need to commiserate with somebody. That is not compassion and that is not empathy. You need to say, I am sorry, that's terrible. Not I get it. Like, because guess what? I've also been through something terrible. Like, so I get it. Like, no, like you just have to say like, you just have to, I mean, like you could just just send them like a barf emoji. You could just send them like a thumbs up. Do not like that this is happening to you. So I will also say that parts of grief we are so uncomfortable, like the anger part of grief, and there's so much anger in it. And that is not like, the antithesis of grief. It is not the antithesis of your gratitude. Like it is extremely difficult to manage your own emotions and then like go out into a world where, the entire world is illiterate to this kind of suffering, and you are sort of placed in this unwanted role of having to caretake other people's emotions. And when there's the loss of a child, something that is so out of like the order of operations for the way that we believe the world works, people want to make meaning of it. People want it to be something that like, oh, don't worry, I get it. This is like really, it's like, you don't need to get it. You just need to know that this is very horrible. All people need to know is like, you recognize, you see what they are going through. That's it. That's it. And yeah. So I do think like when you say things like, you know, yeah, Mark, like just honestly, Mark, which I kept one of the things I asked Mark in the podcast, because it's just such a stupid, I mean, you know, you have to ask a lot of stupid questions when you're interviewing someone, because you have to, you know, pull the story out for the listener, not as like an observer, if that makes sense, or not as a human in a way. In a way, you have to sort of like walk that line between being a human and also like making sure you get the story. I left this part in where I was like, so how did that feel? Mark was like, bad, like bad, you dummy, like, oh my God, like, and I was like, oh yeah, no, I get it, like, he's like, it felt bad, he was so gracious. But yeah, it's people really, really want to be able to offer you something that will, I don't know, contextualize your loss. And like, you don't need additional context from people. Like you have all the context in the world that you need in your own lived experience. And I know that, and I believe that for grief. I believe that. I don't believe in grief experts. I don't. I believe in the fact that, you know, you are an expert in your grief. Like no one has experienced what you've experienced. Nobody. It is yours. It is yours alone. And yes, are there some universal truths for how we experience things? Yes. And your grief, your struggle, your trauma, that is not something that you need to be cured of. Big believer in mental health. Big believer in mental health professionals. But I don't know. It is not something that people need to like wave a magic wand and take away. What you need people to do is like sit down, shut up, and let you live. Let you live. And these things are not an interruption to our lives. These things are our lives. Our lives are filled with like, honestly, the best part, the mundane. The best part is a day like this where kids are screaming over an iPad, where dogs are humping each other's faces, where you know, my coffee has gone cold. I heard the machine beeping, it turned off. I'm like, oh, I really gonna need it to heat up again. And things are just like okay. And then amidst the okayness, we'll have these absolutely beautiful moments, and we'll have moments that just like rip us to absolute shreds. I somehow don't have that book next to me, even though I had it next to me all day yesterday. Which is one of my favorite authors is Pema Chodron. Anyway, so, and that's what she talks about all the time. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. This is actually a good point from Katie. I struggle with this. I want to say I get it because it was lonely for me to go through, and I was so ashamed of my grief, and I wish I had someone who got it and told me, no, Katie, this is all normal, I guess. I don't know. Let's talk about that. What do you think? What do you think? I fully get that. And maybe you just say, like, this is very normal. This sucks. The author is Pema Chodron, and the book that I'd recommend is When Things Fall Apart. Took me a year to read it the first time, even though it's like, I think 100 pages. But it's like, that is a book that I keep by my bed. And whenever I'm like, oh, I like pick it up, I read 4 pages, and I'm like, okay. And she's a Buddhist nun, and she is, you know, she is a Buddhist nun. They're just like us. She is petty sometimes, and she struggles with all the same worldly issues that we do. And I just love the accessibility in which she writes about spirituality. And I found it extremely, extremely helpful. I think this thing was supposed to be over after an hour, and I think that we are. Yeah, we're 4 minutes over. So I am going to, the name is When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron. When Things Fall Apart by Pema Chodron. And oh, Annie's reading that book too. I love that. So, boo. I am going to wrap this up. I don't know if we told you guys this yet, but we are going to do another live stream show, another free show on Valentine's Day. Because, come on, who's got plans on Valentine's Day? No one. So yeah, now you do. We are spending Valentine's Day together. It's going to be so fun. It will not be 3 hours long. I am so sorry. Apparently that was like uncool. I mean, it was mostly uncool for like the people who produce the show who were like, we are on East Coast time. We want to go to bed. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. And I was like, another thing. So we'll be like maybe an hour and a half max. Hour and a half max. That's what we're going to do. So you can find all the details at ttfalive.com, ttfalive.com. Maybe the website's up, maybe it's not. I don't know, but just save the date. We'll be hanging out together. It is last call for this stuff. Okay. Last call for it. We close the pre-order tonight, and then I guarantee you I will get 100 emails that are like, oh, but I didn't get one. I'm like, I know, that's how pre-orders work. I know. I know it sucks. And we're like, you know, we come out with new stuff. Gigi is the merch queen, and she is working hard. I think we're going to do this on Sundays, these little chats. If you liked it, let me know. And we'll try to do these regularly. And then if there's anything else that you would like to talk about, here's another thing that I was thinking about, which is like, maybe we could do these on like Thursdays and like talk about that week's episode. I don't know if that's interesting to you. Let me know. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about that. Either we could do it on Sundays. It could just be like a little Sunday scaries, like just shake. Or we could do it on Thursdays and have it be like an episode discussion. I know not everybody listens to the podcast, you know, right away when it drops. But that's okay. We can also like, you could pick an episode and I can just talk about an old episode. We could actually also like bring people in from our episodes to talk with them, which I would love to do. And my husband's home from his bike ride, and I think that he is okay. Thank you, Michelle. Okay. I'm just gonna say one funny thing about my husband before he walks in, which is like, he like went on an hour-long bike ride. He wore a flannel shirt and jeans. I was like, I love that you exercise in like just clothing. He was like, what else would I wear? I was like, nothing. Just flannel shirt, jeans. Let's go ride bikes for an hour. It just cracks me up. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sitting with the chaos of 2 fighting dogs, 2 fighting children, and thank you for being here and supporting our show. It's really great. I love this job. I am so glad that I get to do this, and we're working some really cool episodes coming up that I'm really, really excited for, that I think are really special. Some really special. I think all of our episodes are special, but I will say that the past 2 weeks just really like have given me a lot of, oh God, now he's looking around in the backyard. He's looking at stuff with this face, which means something else in our house is falling apart. There we go. Oh, geez. He's moving lights. Okay. Sorry. This is Nora McInerny. This has been terrible. Thanks for asking. Sunday morning-ish, morning to mid-morning. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.